wide open hearts, spinning in the heat. Speedway Alliance, kick up the dust. If you ain't sideways, you ain't with us. Dirt track racing the way it's supposed to be. This is our lead, our creed, our speed. Under the cautions, we circle slow, facing the visor, nobody knows. Playing that setup will finally bite. Ready to gamble it all on one night, one night, one night. Speedway Alliance, we ride that edge. Dirt track racing the way it's supposed to be. Slide that tail, hang the throttle off the ledge. Wide open hearts, spinning in the heat. Speedway Alliance, kick up the dust. If you ain't sideways, you ain't with us. Good track racing the way it's supposed to be. This is our lead, our creed. Our speed, kick up the dust. We'll live in the haze. Speedway Alliance, built for these days.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this afternoon from the beautiful Lincoln Speedway. For each and every one of these drivers, it'll be another fun night of elbows up racing as they'll be looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane here this afternoon after what will be our heat races, our consolation race, and then into our 25 lap A main feature event in just a little bit. So for each and every one of these drivers, they'll be looking to the front, trying to put themselves into a position to win tonight's race. But we got to figure out the starting grid here first. So for all these drivers, they're getting their last couple minutes here of the practice session in, making sure their cars are set up perfectly, making sure that they've kind of got all of the testing that they need and trying to figure out a line that they can use to potentially try and win their heat race and set themselves up for a good start in our feature event later this evening. As we do have a bunch of people in chat already. Milena says, good luck, says proud mama here. Mrs. Anderson coming in, showing the love and cheering on the Anderson boy out there on the racetrack, that 13 machine. And we do see Brenda Cooper in the chat as well, says, hey boys, Granny's here, says good luck to the boys here this afternoon. And we do see Brady Ash in the chat as well, says good luck, number 71 and number 711 here today. The 71 and the 711 machines both looking to do a good job here this afternoon. I do believe for Daniel George, he's no longer the 711. I believe he has changed that number. You see it right there in that Twisted Speed Labs, number 571 now. So Daniel George is now changed it to the 571. The other Daniel George is still the 71 ride, still rolling out there in that beautiful number 71 machine. We do see, obviously, Clay Christopherson out there as well in that mellow yellow number 51 machine. Take a look back at Sebastian Rios Davis. All these drivers ready to rumble, ready to go to battle here this evening, and a lot of it could be set up just by a little bit of a random pill draw here, random pill draw heat races. This can either really help you out or it can really hurt you out there on the speedway. If you're going to start deeper in the pack in your heat race, that could put you into a bad position later in this race if you can't move forward throughout that heat race. But if you can get a good pill draw, you can start towards the front. It can set you up for a really good heat race, in which turn could turn into a great starting spot for our A-main here this evening. And we're about to find out how they're going to set the stage, where these drivers will pull their numbers, and who will start in that pole position for heat race number 1, as our practice session has come to a close and we'll get ready to rumble. We'll get ready to go to battle here in this one. Heat race number 1 about to get loaded in. So for each and every one of these drivers, now they got to figure out what's their game plan. Where do they want to be? What groove do they want to roll in? And how do they want to try to work themselves into potentially the winner's circle here this evening? And so here we go, taking a look at the starting grid and starting on the pole in the Hawkeye Trucking. Number 13, it's Holden Anderson who will start in that pole spot here this afternoon. To his outside will be the 15 rider Thomas Thies, and then we do see Corey Sibley in the 999 who will start in that third position. To his outside the 71, that is Daniel George, and down on the inside of row number 3 in the 71, that is Robert Chartette. So Chartette will start in 5th. To his outside will be the 34 of James Williams. And at the back of the pack in the 20 ride, that is Sebastian Rio Davis, bringing up the rear of the field. Is 7 drivers ready to rock and roll, 7 drivers ready to go to battle here for our first heat race of the day. Will we see potentially our front row stay out in front, hang on to those top 2 spots, or will we see some movement? Will we see a couple of these drivers from maybe deeper in the field work their way forward, trying to snag one of these top 2 positions and try to, get a little bit of a better starting spot, as I do believe a little bit of a low car count here tonight, which is, it happens. And obviously no fault of any of these guys, and obviously we wish we had more drivers out there, but it is what it is. We'll take the quality over quantity any day of the week. And for these drivers, that just means a little bit more open racetrack, and they don't have to stress about a consolation race here this evening. Everyone should advance into the A-Main feature event. No sweat, no worries here this evening, but they still got to figure out how they will start our A-Main and where they will be, as here we go. Green flag into the air, already a few drivers making some moves. Great launch right there for the 15 of Thomas Thies, as Thies is going to end up with the race lead. As look out back behind him. Hard contact up into the outside fence goes that 34 of James Williams. Looks like Williams is going to take that thing right off the racetrack, as Holden Anderson back in second. He's trying to inch his way back towards the front here, trying to chase back down that 15 of Thomas Thies. Unfortunately, though, Thies opening up almost half a second now between himself and that 13 ride, and we do see from the back of the pack now up inside the top 3, it is the 20 ride of Sebastian Rios Davis, who's now found his way up into that third position and quickly working to the back bumper here of Holden Anderson for position number 2. Corey Sibley's there in 4th with Robert Chartette rounding out our top 5. Daniel George back in 6, and then we do see James Williams unfortunately down pit side and off of the racing surface. And now we do see the 20 of Sebastian Rios Davis work his way around Holden Anderson. So Anderson slides back to 3rd. Now here comes Corey Sibley. Can Sibley find his way around this 13 ride? Is Anderson pushed up the racetrack right there, may open up the door down low for that number 999 to work himself around it. But let's take a look and see what happened here early on, as obviously things get a little bit crazy on this first, the initial start this afternoon in the 34, trying to find his way around the 71 of Daniel George. They're tight together and down and out at corner number 2. Just looks like maybe George comes down a little bit right there. 34 slowly sliding up the track, and unfortunately they just come together there right on corner exit, and it basically just hooks the X Factor 34 right up into the outside fence. Big hit for him, a lot of damage there. Hopefully he can get that car repaired and back out onto the racetrack for our A-Main feature event. As here we go, white flag has been displayed, and for the 15 decides to go two-wheeling down through corner number 1 and 2, and it opens up the door for the 15 of Thomas Thies. Thies, unfortunately, will fall back into second. Sorry, open up the door for Sebastian Rios Davis, as Rios Davis ends up picking up our heat race win. Thomas Thies comes home in second with Holden Anderson, Corey Sibley, Robert Chartette, and Daniel George going to round out our top 6, with James Williams rounding out the field there for heat race number 1. Now, luckily enough, all those drivers will advance into the show. No one's got to go, but we'll see how they can do and what they can do throughout our feature event, if they can hang on to the top spots or if they can move forward and try to rebound from what may have been a bit of a difficult heat race. As we'll get ready now for heat race number 2, as the 147 of Stephen Bott will start in that pole position. To his outside will be the 571 of Daniel George. Starting back in that third position will be the 18 of Nate Friesen. To his outside will be the number I believe it is the 69 of Carson Cherry, which I believe is actually the number 4 ride there with that beautiful paint-schemed number 4 machine. There it is. All right, so it is Carson Cherry who will start in that 4th position in the 4 car, starting back in position number 5. In the mellow yellow number 51, it's Clay Christopherson. To his outside, or right behind him, will be the number 216 of Aaron Witham, and unfortunately it looks like Gary Steele did not get out there for the start of this heat race, so he'll have to start from down pit side, or he'll have to try to join us for this A main feature event. Nonetheless, though, it is going to be at least 6 drivers taking the green flag, and we'll get ready to set these drivers loose as the lights are off. The official iRacing pace truck, he'll get ready to make the hard left-hand turn right back down pit side. There he goes, and that will give the 147 of Stephen Bott control here in this one. So for the Schaefer's Racing Oil number 147, what can Stephen Bott do? Is down and out of corner number 4. He will see that green flag fly. He's quickly on the loud pedal, but look out, these guys are wheeling them down the front straightaway. A lot of movement, a lot of wiggling, and luckily enough, everyone's able to keep their cars pointing in the right direction here as they head back down into corner number 3. But look out, contact, Buck gets into Cherry, bounces off of Friesen, off the wall, back into Friesen, back up and into the fence. Heavy damage here for the 147, and for our pole sitter, goes from starting in the top spot to all of a sudden 1-2 laps into this heat race, and he's back here at the rear of the field, and this thing is hurt. It is destroyed, gets back up into the fence, more damage, and unfortunately it looks like he may be out of this one. But for Daniel George, he's out in front, he's got the top spot. He was able to get a great start there, obviously with that 147 getting super loose and spinning the tires and almost going around and running into those issues. It allowed him to kind of run away with him in the outside lane, and he brought Carson Cherry right with him. Cherry's all over his back bumper and looking to try to move up into that top spot on the racetrack. But for Daniel George, he's not going to want to give it up here. He's going to look to hang on to it, try to keep Cherry back there at bay, as he knows if he can pick up this heat race win, he will start our A main feature event on the outside of the front row, and that is not a bad spot to be. So he's going to look to try to lock that in, and he's going to keep that 4 ride back there at bay for at least 3 more laps as Nate Friesen trying to hang on to that 3rd position, but Clay Christopherson looking to try to take it away from him. As the mellow yellow number 51 gets in there, gets that left front up in the air, goes for a bit of a power slide down through 3 and 4. Unfortunately, he'll have to give up that battle for now, but let's see if he can try to track back down that F18 machine is out in front. It's still a battle here for the race lead. A little bit of a crossover there for Cherry. He puts the power down, gets a great run down the front straightaway, and as we take the white flag, it's Carson Cherry who jumps out in front. So Cherry now with the race lead. Daniel George back there in that 2nd spot. It's going to take one more shot, one more look. They'll drag race back down to the line, and it will be Carson Cherry who hangs on for our 2nd heat race win of the day. Daniel George will have to settle for position number 2 with Nate Friesen, Clay Christopherson, Aaron Witham, Stephen Bott, and Gary Steele rounding out our top 7 out there on the racetrack here in our 2nd heat race of the evening. And unfortunately, that's all we got for heat races. Heat racing action has concluded. That means it is on like Donkey Kong now for our A main feature event in just a couple more moments, as drivers will get an opportunity to jump out onto the racetrack. They'll get a chance here to try and battle and try to put themselves into a position for what could be a big win here this afternoon, and we're going to see a lot of these drivers slipping and sliding, moving around, trying to take some shots here and trying to play a little bit of a strategy game out there on the speedway to try to find their way up and into victory lane. But for obviously Daniel George, Aaron Witham, a couple of these drivers that'll be starting deeper in the pack, it's going to be interesting to see who can get it done here in this one, as it's going to be a lot of fun, as man, oh man, NASCAR race just ended as well. If you guys aren't watching that, Tyler Reddick just won again. What in the world is going on? Tyler Reddick 2 for 2 to start the 2026 season here in the NASCAR Cup Series. I don't know how that car was still even rolling, how it was still going that as good as it was. Had no right front fender left on that race car, but yet somehow or another he's able to get to the front of the pack there and picks up another win back-to-back here. Going to keep that party alive from the Daytona 500 and carry it right on through to Atlanta and off to the hardest start here on the season for Mr. Reddick, as we'll get everyone here in our race ready to rock and roll from Lincoln Speedway as they get done there in Atlanta. We'll get ready to rumble. We'll get ready to go to battle here tonight ourselves. And for all of our drivers, obviously, they're going to want to try to put themselves up in victory lane as well. They want to get a little bit of the luck. They want to get their way into potentially a big run and a big win here this afternoon as well. Maybe start to get a little hot like Reddick and try to go on a run here in this season and hoping that they can maybe try and put themselves into a championship contention here with the Speedway Alliance Racing League. As Daniel George, all these drivers, they're out on the racetrack. See Nate Friesen, Thomas Thies back out there. There's Corey Sibley, our second heat race winner. Carson Cherry, he's right back out there. He's going to be trying to get a good run in here. He wants to put this 4 right up in victory lane here this afternoon. As Holden Anderson looking strong as well. We'll have to wait and see what he's got up his sleeve here for this main feature event. Is our warm-up session about to come to a close, and for all these drivers, we got 25 laps on the docket here this afternoon for our main feature event. As Brandon Cooper says, good luck, Daniel Sr. and Daniel Jr. Cheering on both Daniels here this afternoon. Says, go Danny. Granny, so proud of y'all. We love that. We love that Granny is proud of them, and we can't wait to see what they got in store here for our main feature event. Man, that 571, I'm assuming of Daniel George Sr. was, man, he was looking strong there in that second heat race. Looking strong, having a great run, battling hard there with Carson Cherry for that heat race win. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to get it, but man, he was door to door with them. Almost got back in front of that final lap and almost took that lead back away in time, but unfortunately had to settle for position number 2 there in that second heat race, and that means you'll get ready to start our main feature event on the outside of the front row. Or not the outside of the front row, outside of the second row, sorry. And starting on the inside of row number 1, in our pole position, it will be the 20 of Sebastian Rios Davis. To his outside, that is the 4 of Carson Cherry. Starting back in position number 3, that is Thomas Thies in the 15. And to his outside is that 571 of Daniel George. Holden Anderson will round out our top 5 here on the starting grid, as he'll have the F18 of Nate Friesen starting there in 6. Starting back in 7th will be the 999 of Corey Sibley, and to his outside, I believe, will be that 51 of Clay Christopherson. Starting in position at number 9 out there on the speedway in the number 71, that is Robert Chartet. To his outside will be the 216 of Aaron Witham, and then we do see the 71 of Daniel George, the number 14 of 147 of Stephen Bott, and the number 34 of James Williams, bringing up the rear of the field. Again, Gary Steele not out there for this feature event, so it looks like we are going to be starting 13 drivers, as it's all about quality over quantity, and we're going to get ready for a show here in this one, as the 571 is junior. 571 is junior. Okay, good to know, good to know. Okay, so senior is in the 71, junior's in the 571. We love that. Thank you for the comms in the chat. As here we go, as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation, as we are quickly green flag racing here from Lincoln Speedway. And out in front, you can see these drivers still wiggling, trying to get a handle on these race cars. And right now, as they're stacked up, door to door, 2 wide, 3 wide out there on the racetrack, this is where things can go very, very good or very, very bad. And unfortunately, there goes one driver upside down, Out goes Thomas Thies. Caution flag is on the racetrack. And this is what we talked about. Things that could go bad in a quick Curry. And unfortunately for Thies, had raced his way up and into the third position, battling here with Daniel George Jr., and there's contact down through 3 and 4, gets loose, trying to hang on to it, and then back down into corner number 3 and 4 right here, gets a little bit of a run, gets up the racetrack, and then just looks like off the corner, him and Daniel George get tied together right here. I'm not sure if George comes up or if the 15 of Thies comes down, but nonetheless, they end up making some contact, and it hooks the 15 right here. Let's take a look. So the 15 right there, looks like the car kind of hangs out, starts to push down into the middle of the racetrack, and unfortunately just over the nose of the 517, and then watch this 15 ride. Hard contact into that inside fence. He's upside down, and nowhere to go for Stephen Butt, nowhere to go for the 999 of Corey Sibley as they plow right into him, and here comes Daniel George Sr. as well. Hard contact there into that 15 ride as he's turtled out there on the racetrack. Everyone trying to get around him. Luckily enough, he does land back on all 4 tires, but the damage was already dealt. Let's take another look here at it and see from another angle really what kind of transpires and how quickly things can go wrong for a car out there on the racetrack. As here we go, down and out of corner number 4. There's the contact, and quickly, bam, right into that fence, and then for 2, 3, 4 other drivers end up with some very solid damage, and unfortunately, a lot of them going to have to head down pit side, look to get repairs, try to work themselves back out onto the racetrack. For Thomas Thies, he may be down there for an extended period of time, but for everybody else, they're going to keep on rocking and rolling. As we did see Corey Sibley, he was able to make his way down pit side. He was able to get the repairs that he was looking for, and so didn't Daniel George. So, for those drivers that got collected, they're right back into it. I do believe Daniel George Jr. will take an EOL. He'll go to the back of the pack there. Now, he didn't come down pit side, so he will at least stay in front of the drivers that did make pit stops, but he still loses a ton of track position and will have to try and battle his way back up to the front. But down through 3 and out of 4, green flag back out into the air as the 4 ride of Carson Cherry. Great restart, great launch right there, and he's hoping that he can try to open up a bit of a lead between himself and Sebastian Rios Davis, as Rios right there on his back bumper trying to hunt him down. As you do see Holden Anderson push up the track right there. Woo, baby, hang on to it, Holden. That was a close call right there. Got tight, pushed up the racetrack, almost clobbered the outside fence. Luckily enough, able to keep that 3rd position and keep on rolling there in position number 3. But you do see the F-18 right there with them as they're battling now door to door. Nate Friesen looking to try to bring one of these Monte Carlos right into the picture at the front of the pack as they're tight there off of corner number 2. My gosh, that almost took that F-18 right around. Luckily enough, 2 line of contact did not hook him, did not spin him, and we keep it clean and green as these drivers continue to put on an absolutely epic show for us here at Lincoln Speedway. But these laps are clicking down, and a quick Curry is already 5 laps completed down across the line. They'll complete lap number 6, so we're already down to 19 laps left to go here in this one. Is Carson Cherry, though, out in front? He's feeling A-OK. He just wants to see this stay clean and green. He's pulling farther and farther away from Sebastian Rios Davis, and he's hoping to try to keep all these other drivers back there behind him, as we do see Aaron Witham get really loose there. A little contact, a little help down and out of corner number 4. Got into that inside fence, luckily enough, able to hang on to it, keep on rolling, but does lose a few positions and falls back now into that 9th position. As you see Stephen Bott now just in front of him. Here comes Daniel George Jr. up and into position number 7 as he'll look to work his way around the 71 ride of Robert Chartet. Chartet going to try to hold on to position number 6, but they're working on the back bumper of this 13 ride of Holden Anderson. Anderson, unfortunately, has fallen back into that 5th position. It seems like for the 13 has got a really solid car when it comes to the short run, being, you know, that 1 or 2 laps. It seems like that car has really got some good speed into it, and then it starts to fall off. And as it starts to fall off, you can see how much pressure he's got to be feeling, because these guys are slinging it underneath of him, trying to find their way around him, just not able to quite get there to, you know, take that spot away from him. He's been able to hang on to 5th, and now that they're battling kind of door-to-door back behind him, it's allowed him to get a couple car lengths between him and Robert Chartette and Daniel George Jr. out there on the speedway. But more contact, more beating and banging. Hang on to it, Aaron with them. Getting bounced around again. We did see Corey Sibley up into the outside fence here. Heavy right side damage for the 999 ride, and there is the caution flag. So the caution flag will be displayed as Corey Sibley ends up tied up here in this one. Heavy damage there for him. Let's take another look at it. See if we can get another angle at this as they were coming out of corner number 2 here, and it looks like with them, I don't know if he gets loose and shoots down the racetrack or if he's just trying to get underneath this 147 to Stephen Bott. Nonetheless, as he makes that move, the 999 of Corey Sibley's already there. Bounces off him, back up into the 147, which then puts Bott into Corey Sibley. All 3 of those drivers end up making some pretty solid contact and getting some pretty solid damage. But for Corey Sibley, it gets worse for him as the broken right front just pushes him off the racetrack. Hard contact up into the outside fence. See the 34 line right there of James Williams having to get checked up, and that's where we see the caution flag get displayed. So a couple big hits, and for a few of these drivers, they're going to have to look for some big repairs to try to get themselves back into the action here this evening. Now, luckily enough, they got those quick repairs, so these guys are able to get their cars back into one piece and back into the battle and ready to rock and roll again this evening, as we will see. You know, Thomas Thies, he's back out there. Great to see Thomas back in the action here. He's back on the lead lap as well. Daniel George there in 10th as he'll look to try to work his way forward. So on Corey Sibley and Aaron with him. Stephen Buff back there in 13th at the rear of the field. Going to try to bring that Integra number 147 ride back up to the front of the field. I want to keep calling it the 14 because that's what it looks like, but it's the 147. There's a little tiny 7 inside that 4 ride. Inside the 4 on the side of his car, and it just keeps messing with me as some issues there on that restart for Aaron Witham. Witham gets off to a slow launch. Unfortunately, that really does hurt Stephen Bott. Both drivers way back line the field, but out in front, it's Carson Cherry, who really did not want to see that caution flag because it brings all these drivers right back to his rear bumper. It eliminates that big solid lead that he had built up, and he had run away from the rest of these drivers back behind him, but now he's got to try to do it all over again. He's got to try to pull away and hope that he can keep the 20 ride. It's Sebastian Rio Davis, Nate Friesen, Holden Anderson, and the rest of our field back there at bay as the 4 ride of Carson Cherry out in front, just able to keep himself single file in front of that 20 ride. But Sebastian Rios Davis looking like he's mounting a challenge and trying to find a way to put himself up into victory lane, as we do see some more issues here as a couple of drivers, looks like Aaron Witham, Daniel George are going to get tied together. George down low, slides up the track, and then just down the front straightaway right here, both drivers get tied together, and man, up onto 2 wheels there, almost going upside down for that 71 ride. But you get a great look at it right here. So they're battling door to door, down and out of core number 4. Obviously for the 71, I don't know if you thought he was clear, but you can kind of see if we can get another angle at it. There is quite a bit of contact here between the 2 of them, and it looks like 216 doesn't go to the fence. The 71 kind of moving up a little bit. They just get tied together, and as they do, it drives them both up into that outside fence, and eventually, you know, those rims are just going to dig in as the 216 continues to push the 71. He ends up going for a little 2-tire skid right there, and then we do see with them up into the outside fence, and heavy damage for both drivers. The caution flag comes back out here in this one. So another big restart on the horizon for Carson Cherry, but Cherry gets a great launch. Great jump right there, and for that 69 ride, he is able to open up a couple car lengths between himself and Sebastian Rios Davis. That's exactly what he needed to do. That's exactly what he needed to see, because it gives himself a little bit of breathing room, and now they're getting tied up back behind him again. Look out, that was Clay Christopherson and Holden Anderson. Oh man, they both almost took each other right out there, but luckily enough, they're able to hang on to it. But for Holden Anderson, it seems like for a couple laps, this Hawkeye Trucking number 13 ride is really, really strong. and then that car starts to struggle. So we'll have to wait and see if these late race restarts may work into his favor as we see Nate Friesen get up into the outside fence. So the F18 ride gets a good piece of that wall. Gotta hope that there's not a lot of damage there for him, but he doesn't want to slow down too much because that 13 ride of Holden Anderson's going to be right there ready to pounce and trying to take that third spot away from the number 18 ride. Is out in front, Carson Cherry continuing to hold on to that top position. Cherry is out in front, continuing to lead the way as Chunky Racing says, yo, I'm playing late at Lanier next. That's awesome, brother. That's awesome, my boy. Have some fun with that. That is for certain. Going to be a good race. Going to be some great fun, and hopefully you can find yourself a good finish, maybe a solid performance, and maybe even a dub later this afternoon. As Carson Cherry out in front, he's only got a few laps left to go, but Sebastian Rios Davis is really hounding him now for that race lead. He knows that time is running out. He knows he needs to strike now. This may be the only opportunity he's got the next few laps, because if the 4 ride can open up a little bit of a lead, or if we get a late race caution flag, it may be enough for Cherry to hold him off and park himself up into victory lane. So for Sebastian Rios Davis, he's got to try to find something, and here it comes. Good run out of corner number 2. Looks down to the inside here on Cherry. They're door to door, back down through 3 and out of 4. Cherry, though, able to edge out in front as the white flag has been displayed. So one more time around here for the 4 of Carson Cherry, but does Sebastian Rios Davis give him the bump and run and steal this win away from the 4 ride as they drag race back down and across the line? Rios Davis can't get there as Carson Cherry will pick up the checkered flag here from Lincoln Speedway. It is the 4 machine of Mr. Cherry who parks it into victory lane. Sebastian Rios Davis giving him some congratulations, a thumbs up there. Good run, good drive, man. Great racing between the two of them. And the F18 of Nate Friesen to round out our podium here this afternoon. Solid run, solid performance from each and every one of these drivers, man. They put together a heck of a show in an amazing race out there on the Speedway. Obviously, a few caution flags is bound to happen here on the dirt surface and tight racing. And obviously, when you jump into these asphalt race cars and you throw them onto the dirt surface, as much as you can make changes and try to make that handling half decent, these things are still inanimal. You saw a lot of those restarts, drivers getting onto the throttle, just finding out that, hey, they got no grip. They start spinning the tires, and now they're just trying to hang on and keep themselves pointed the right direction. And when you start seeing 2, 3, 4 of those guys doing the same thing on each of those restarts, it gets chaotic in a quick hurry. But for Carson Cherry, he was able to quickly jump out in front, never look back. For Sebastian Rios Davis, fell back into second early in this race and just never could get back around. That's 69, well, the 4 ride here this afternoon. As we'll get ready to pull all of our top 3 up and into the booth here for their post-race interviews, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Give it up here for our race winner, Mr. Carson Cherry. Hey, Carson, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Carson, man, what a run, what a race, brother, as somehow or another you're able to hold off Sebastian Rios Davis here throughout this race and the rest of the field. But, man, it was a dogfight there right to the checkered flag as Rios kind of let you run away with there for the first little bit. A few of those caution flags, though, midway through this race, unfortunately eliminated a pretty solid lead for you. Now, I'm not sure if maybe you burned up a little bit more than Sebastian, if he was maybe saving there, expecting that caution flag, because after that he was right there on your back bumper hounding you here for the race lead, but you never gave it up and you're able to hold him off to pull that 4 right up and into victory lane here at Lincoln Speedway. Man, take us back through it. What's going through your mind?
Oh man, first, I gotta start off in that heat race. I was expecting Gary to be, fast here, and I hate that, he lost power and he had to leave, but I was really hoping I could race against, Gary, because, we've always been really fast in times, and then I got lucky being able to move up from, 6th to 4th, and Everything happened on the first lap, and after that, I think it was me and George, I think it was the 5 car, and a really good run to him, man. I mean, props. That was a lot of fun to race with. Um, and then starting front row of the feature with my brother starting to my inside was, I think, a surreal thing for me because me and him don't really get to start it like that ever. Um, and man, as soon as green went, dude, it was a battle between brothers, and as soon as I knew I could get out front, I know Sebastian pretty well, so I know what line he's gonna run, and I eventually just settled down, found a line that I was comfortable in, the car was happy, and then I got to drive off a little bit, and me and him got half a straight on everybody, and as soon as he started catching back up to me, man, that caution came out, saved me. He was gonna get around me, and then another caution came out, and I mean, he started poking underneath me and poking underneath me and poking underneath me, and I was like, you know what? It's either he's gonna do it and we're gonna wreck, or I'm gonna get down there and block him. And I was able to get down there and block him.
Able to just hold him off and keep him at bay here in this one, man, for what was a very, very exciting race between the two of you. There was a lot of action back there behind you, and it was a great show for all of the fans in the stands here this afternoon. But you get to park this beautiful Gary Steele Memorial car up and into victory lane here this evening, man. What does that feel for you here again, being able to bring Gary back up into victory lane?
Honestly, it means a lot to me. I mean, like I said, me and Gary have gotten really tight over the last couple weeks, and I appreciate him, trusting me enough to, carry his dad's name and make him look good. And I don't know if you can see it on the back bumper, but it says "Doing it for the legend." Um, it just, it's definitely heartwarming for me for to be able to do this for them, and just I hope Gary knows, how much I appreciate him.
Absolutely, brother. I'm sure he does after, a few of our conversations up here. I know he goes back and re-watches these races, and I know that, his dad's up there as well, cheering you on and watching this beautiful four ride find its way back up into victory lane. But Carson, great run, great drive for you here this afternoon. Another big dub here in the Speedway Alliance Racing League, man. Who would you like to thank for another great performance and another big dub here this evening?
But first off, I gotta thank Gary. I mean, like I said, like it's an absolute honor to be able to do this for him, and we have gotten pretty close. And happy birthday, brother. I gotta thank Sebastian and Team Purpose. We can only really get together like once a week, and well, once we can, and we build setups like this tonight, and we can run 1-2, and we try so hard. So it's definitely a change of pace going from fastest car on track and rookie mistake hurting me last week to leading everything this week. And I got to thank Mitch, two fat guys, for allowing me to be second fat guy. It's always a pleasure being able to work with him. I got to thank Dylan Blackburn at Mr. Smooth Race Reps. He didn't make this, but he is like a little brother to me. And him also over at Cushion Pushing Media. And just everyone who kind of like chips in, like helps me get better every day. That's really all I can hope for, and hopefully next week I can be better than this.
Absolutely, brother. That's always the goal, to continue to get better week after week after week. And here this week, man, no one better than yourself as you park the four ride up and into victory lane. Carson, congratulations on the win here this evening, and we can't wait to see you back out there next Sunday and maybe right back up here and into victory lane.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Carson, enjoy the rest of your night and don't party too hard down there in victory lane.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Carson Cherry, as Cherry gets the cherry on top and puts himself up and into victory lane here this evening as we'll get ready to pull in our second place finisher, Sebastian Rios Davis. Hey, Sebastian, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Not too bad, man. Great run, great race for you here this evening. Obviously, you jumped from the back of the pack to winning that first heat race of the day. You start in that pole position. Unfortunately, though, you got a battle with your brother out in front. Carson able to take that early race lead. It looked like maybe you kind of just got settled in back there in second, maybe saving for a little bit, expecting some of these caution flags, and it looked like it was going to work out for you as you were all over the back bumper there, Carson, trying to find your way around him. Unfortunately, just never could make the pass stick and had to settle in for a second place run here today. But man, it was definitely a valiant effort.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I knew in the heat race that if I didn't get up front, I was gonna have to drive the car really hard and risk putting some damage up there on the bumper and possibly blowing the engine. So once I saw the opening right at the start, I instantly took it and kind of just squeezed my way through. But no, I didn't have really any time this week to do any testing, see where the car liked to be and, where the track was going to be at. But today, before I got in, I kind of found the line, and so I knew at least that once I had, some open air where people weren't next to me, that I'd be able to put down some clean lines and catch up to whoever was in front of me or take off if I was in the lead. But once I got past Holden, I just, set my focus directly on getting past Thomas, and thankfully I was able to do that and start up front. Like Carson was saying, it was really cool to be up front and starting with him in the main event. We don't really get to do that in these league races, but over our time of running officials, I mean, we always say it's like the good old days. We would do that all the time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we put on a show. It was cool to really, show what Team Purpose is capable of with how much of a lead that we had. Not, saying that those guys can't do what we do, but it just shows, how much our efforts and what our work pays off. It was really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of practice, a lot of laps laid down, and obviously a lot of work going into these race cars throughout the week to try to set yourselves up for a run like you had here tonight. And it worked out perfectly for you as you come home 1 and 2, and for yourself a very solid second place run here in this one. Sebastian, who would you like to thank for a great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
So first off, I want to thank my parents. They've been supporting me. I'm currently out in, I go to the Motorsports College, UNOH. I'm about 2,500 miles away from home. I'm originally from California. The college I go to is in Ohio. But they support me every time I get up on the sim, and, they encourage me to get this practice in since we do a lot of racing back home. I'm very thankful that they're supportive of my journey and, what I'm trying to accomplish. But yeah, definitely my parents, my family, my dad's tattoo shop. He does a lot of work to keep our race cars going and supports me if I ever, if I'm in need of it. But Full Spectrum Ink Tattoo out in Rockland, California. That's his tattoo shop, and then our main sponsor, Hot Off the Griddle. They have always been a big support to us. They are like family to us as well. But yeah, definitely Team Purpose Racing. We're all like a big family, and anytime we're struggling with something, whether it's like mental health or anything big like that, everybody's very, very supportive. We're a mental health team, and we want to make sure that we can help out those who need it. So it's very big. But yeah, on top of that, all of the setup work that they help us with, and just the encouragement, it's very big. But yeah, that's it. Those guys definitely for sure.
Beauty, well, Sebastian, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this evening, man. Congratulations on that second place finish here tonight in the Speedway Alliance Racing League. I do believe race number 5 here in these factory stocks, and obviously we still got a lot of races left to go here in the season, but man, this was another instant classic, and we can't wait to see what you and the rest of the field have in store for us again next Sunday night. But Sebastian, enjoy the second place finish, and hopefully we'll see you right back up here in the broadcast booth next Sunday.
Yes, sir. You too. See you next week.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Sebastian Rios Davis, as we get ready to pull in our third place finisher, Nate Friesen. Hey, Nate, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Not too bad, Nate, man. Great run, great drawing for you here this evening, man, as you're able to work that Monte Carlo, the only one up and into the podium here this evening as you finish right there behind Cherry and Davis here this afternoon, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind.
Appreciate you, man. I couldn't see myself in anything but a yellow bow tie. Uh, well, it was really just trying to keep my nose clean as long as possible and just logging laps. I didn't feel super confident with the setup, so it was just try to keep up with the person in front of me, tie a rope to their bumper, and just see where it took me. That was definitely a tough one. I'm a big fan of Lincoln itself. Definitely one of my favorite drivers tracks within iRacing. I know that's a pretty uncommon opinion, but I enjoy it. Kind of forces you to drive the car more, think more, rotate the car into the corner, and think about how you get to the center and then get off the corner as well. So it was definitely a hold on and keep them behind you for sure. I know I left a big gap on a lot of those restarts just trying to play it safe. So it was definitely a battle for sure.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you guys were wheeling those things out there on the racetrack as the metric chassis seemed like especially the restarts, these things seemed to, I don't know if it was tire spin or they were just really, really light on their toes, but it seemed like for a lot of them here this afternoon, those bow ties were struggling on these restarts, just getting super loose and moving back and forth and slipping and sliding around there for, almost a lap until things kind of got a little bit more settled in and the cars kind of came back to life for you. Kind of take us through those restarts and what the cars were doing here this afternoon, because it seemed like for Cherry, Rios Davis, Anderson, and a couple of those other non-metric chassis, it seemed like their cars were a lot more planted when it came to these restarts.
Yeah, I did feel like the Monte Carlos, they would put down the power almost too well. And a lot of guys would let that car, for some reason, the factory stocks love to, as soon as they start to grip up, they'll snap to the right. And then if a guy doesn't really anticipate it very well, they'll overcorrect and it'll yank them back to the left. As long as you can anticipate that and feel it out with the throttle a little bit and roll into the throttle more than just planting it to the ground, then you could have a lot better time getting it off the restart and really working the throttle.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to work that throttle, trying to keep these things pointing in the right direction. It was a struggle for everyone throughout this race, but you guys put on an absolute amazing show for us all evening long, and you back it up here yourself with a very solid top 3 performance as you round out our podium here tonight. Nate, who would you like to thank for a great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Absolutely. Drop 2 Garage is one of my biggest helpers here. With the wraps and then a lot of the setup stuff. Mattslini Services, 01 Shock Suspension, Freezing Performance, Hoosier Tire, CNC Motorsports, and Sign Graphics and IMCA themselves.
Absolutely. Well, Nate, great run, great drive here tonight, man. We can't wait to see what you guys got in store for us again next Sunday night, and hopefully we'll get to see you right back up here in the broadcast booth, maybe a couple spots better and parking that F-18 up and into Victory Lane.
That's right. Thank you, sir. See you in the next one.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, too.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Nate Friesen. As Nate comes home in position number 3, that will round out our afternoon here with the Speedway Alliance Racing League this afternoon. Unfortunately, that is going to end the show here in this one. Now, we will be getting ready to rock and roll. We'll be getting ready to go here in about 20 minutes from now as we have 500 miles, 200 laps at Daytona International Speedway with our wheel-to-wheel racing league here this afternoon coming up next. So if you guys want to tune in, watch some more amazing racing action. Obviously, we're going from the dirt track back to the asphalt with the NASCAR Cup cars, but man, it is going to be a heck of a show. I think we got 42 or 43 drivers slotted to take the green flag. tonight, and it's going to be a wild show, man. 200 laps, 500 miles. Who knows how many issues, how many big ones we may see, but it's going to be a ton of fun. And hopefully we see all of you guys tuning in and showing the love and enjoying some more amazing racing here on Peacemaker Gaming later this afternoon. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all back here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Kick dust, night rush, white lines, head crush, let's go! Let's go! Boots in the clay, pit lane prayers, sun going down, floodlights glare, tape on the number, scars on the frame. We don't chase money, we chase the same flame. Fuel on our hands, grit in our teeth, talk in the trailer, war underneath, open bumper, stories in steel. You don't think cleaner, you don't think real. Speedway Alliance, we ride that edge. Dirt track racing the way it's supposed to be. Slide that tail, hang the throttle off the ledge. Wide open hearts, spinning in the heat. Speedway Alliance, kick up the dust. If you ain't sideways, you ain't with us. Dirt track racing the way it's supposed to be. This is our league, our creed, our speed. Green flag twitch, heartbeat spikes, pack goes wild, we thread through the stripes, roost in the mirror, helmet hums tight, left front lifting like it wants to take flight, wall comes close, inches from shame, name on the board or forgotten again, talk comes cheap in the online roar, out here it's elbows, inches, score! Speedway Alliance, we ride that edge. Dirt track racing the way it's supposed to be. Slide that tail, hang the throttle off the ledge. Wide open hearts, spinning in the heat. Speedway Alliance, kick up the dust. If you ain't sideways, you ain't with us. Dirt track racing the way it's supposed to be. This is our league, our creed, our speed. Under the cautions, we circle slow, facing the visor, no